What up, what up, what up? It's your man, Mr. Controversy. Did you miss me? Here at Radio Row, Las Vegas, live Super Bowl 58. And all the way to the right, I got my guy, Maceo. What up, Mace?
I'm happy right now because we're getting ready to talk offensive football.
Bruh.
Yes.
What?
Yes.
Coach, so I want to start off right now. You look at today's offenses. Do you lick your chops? You looking like if I was coaching right now, I would be.
No, it's a fun time. You know, I think when you look across the landscape of the National Football League with so many of these young quarterbacks that are coming into the NFL, right? They come from these RPO systems. A lot of them are matriculating into the National Football League and having success. Coaches are taking some of those concepts and inserting them into their offensive scheme. And that's why you see these guys playing early in their careers.
Coach, I'm a former OC.
Mm-hmm.
I've always just loved how you implemented game plans when whether you're in Raiders, Cleveland, wherever you've been. Talk about 7-on-7 and how it has developed these young quarterbacks to walk in playing now, understanding coverages. You think 7-on-7 has been a real good thing for football?
Oh, there's no doubt, because there's so many of these camps, right, across the country. You have traveling teams that are playing 7-on-7 football when they're 10 years old, all the way up through when these kids are going into college.
Right.
So there's a lot of throwing the football. There's a lot of understanding of schemes from a coverage standpoint. There's a lot of understanding of the quarterback, and they really take it to the next level of those guys making checks and making high decisions early. So the guys who can do a really good job of, taking that information and being able to spit it back out, those are the guys you're seeing that are becoming really good college quarterbacks that eventually transition into the National Football League.
And me and Maceo, we've always talked about this. So in today's game, you see a lot of different packages, right? So if it's a running play, you take your two-star wide receivers, they go to the bench, and then and I don't understand that. Why?
I just know it's wrong.
Yeah, you know it. Like, how can the defense know?
You can't give away strategy, right? And I know what you're saying, but people do all the time because that player has made a decision. I ain't blocking that guy. Well, put him on the backside away from it. And some guys will go, well, we don't know how to get him over there. What do you mean you don't know how to get him over there? We're paying you all this money to do what? Exactly. Come on. I don't care if you call it old brown shoe. Just tell him to go over there somewhere and hang out. But no, I agree with that. Some of that does happen a little bit too much. I mean, in this day and age of analytics, tells a story of who you are on offense. And so if you do those things at a high level, people are going to pick up that tendency.
And you see so many times. I remember it was when you guys were on Hard Knocks, and you talked about, and I use this term all the time, you talked about how you have to break tendencies.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes you have to scout yourself and say, hey, we did this in week 4, so in week 8, I'm going to show them that, but we're going to do something off of it.
Yes.
Does it frustrate you sometimes to see some of these guys? And I know how you watch the game. So I watch the game with no sound, Coach. And I'm just watching the play. I'm just like, dude. So it got to irk you because you've been there, Coach.
It shouldn't be that hard, right? And I know what you're thinking. It shouldn't be that hard. But let me say this. Now, if people are not self-scouting themselves every week, you're behind. Because they're going to watch what you do. Everybody understands offense is going to scratch where it itch on the defense, right? You're going to scratch where it itch, but sometimes you start scratching, they load up where the itch is, right? And they got enough stuff over there to make sure the itch is going to stop, right? So you can't do that all the time. And so you got to know who you are because the other people are going to know who you are, right? And so you got to have an idea of what you're doing so that you can do something just a little bit different. Like you say, you got to do something off of the things that you're really good at.
So does teams or even coaches, because it's a trend in the NFL, like right now it's a passing game. Everybody's doing a passing game. But do you think that a team can actually come in and, I guess like the Ravens, still implement the run and not just follow what everyone else is doing?
Go watch Kansas City. Go watch Pacheco.
Right.
They run the football.
Right.
I mean, the great teams that are, again, making it to this round, right? They have the ability to run the ball.
Yep.
They have the ability to be physical. The game is still, the rudiments of the game, I should say, is still no different than what they were when we were young. The difference is how you are going to approach it and how you're going to get that message across. I mean, the teams that are not very physical, they look like a flash early. They don't last.
Right.
Because the physical part of the game takes over at some point in time. And you just see it every year. And you can't physically run the football. And that's the hardest thing to do. People don't understand that. Oh, that should be easy. No, it's not. It's hard because it's to be able to work together as a unit in the running game where you have 10 guys, salute the quarterback, because if you don't have the ball, you're a blocker, right? Just you mentioned those receivers, right? So I got to get that guy to buy in. Well, I'm not getting him to buy in. I'm going to get him the ball, but you ain't getting the ball if you're not going to block.
Right, right.
You know, because
they go together.
Yes, because that's what's going to help us win.
Exactly.
So you got to be a salesman. I got to be able to sell that to you. You got to be able to believe in it because at the end of the day, we want to be standing in that big game, and that's the only way I think you can stand in there with the ability to run the football as well.
I know, Coach, you've been on the recruiting trail last couple of years when you were working in college. It's National Signing Day today. I kind of, every now and then, kind of help parents navigate this process. One of the toughest things, and I want to get your thoughts on it so you can tell people as well, when we talk quarterback position.
Oh, wow.
Certain parents just feel like, okay, my son is this, and this. Why he not getting offered?
Right. Well,
Coach, help the people out, Coach. See, they'll listen to you because you got,
listen to you too.
Coach, but you got,
they're listening
you
to you,
know how sometimes you're like, your mama can tell you what's going on, but you don't believe us. If somebody across the street, and then you're going to listen to them.
You'll listen to what
so
they're saying.
Help them out, Coach.
Well, I think the biggest thing is it's the skill level, you know, and then who you're competing with. And it's changed a little bit. The portal has opened up, and it's allowed coaches to see so many different types of quarterback. And so you can really look at it now. Most schools are being very strategic because you can be to go find what you want. Not just what's out there. I want this guy. Oh, he played at so-and-so 2 years ago. He's in the portal. Go get him. That's what's happening. And I feel bad for the high school kid because the portal kid is a kid who's played the game.
Yep.
I have tape of that player playing against a little bit better quality of talent.
Right.
So if you're going to a school that's not interested in recruiting and reforming and coaching the talent, right, that they already want the more talented player because they're just plugging in playing.
Right.
That's the biggest decisions I think that are happening, and I think that's what parents have to understand.
Do you think the game can take a step back if, you know how like you're talking about these quarterbacks, they come in and you say, okay, well, we had Caleb Williams, let's bring in Kingsbury to coach him. And not just that, let's implement what they did in college to, so he'll be comfortable. Does that hurt the quarterback's progression, or do you look at it as, well, we can be successful, with that?
I think that's a great question. I think you have to weigh it against who you're playing, who those defensive coordinators are, and really what can we take that he did and implement it into the National Football League? Because all of college game doesn't equate to the National Football League.
Right.
But there are concepts, there are things that this young man's done that we can put in our arsenal to let him feel comfortable, to give him a chance to be the best version of himself. When it's all said and done, you want those guys to play as well as they can play. You're paying them a lot of money. You got to get your value out of them. So you want to create that environment that you're doing the things that they do extremely well. Well, it's the National Football League, and I think we all know when these guys come in from a protection standpoint, that's where they've struggled the most because they haven't had to worry about throwing a ball quick on this guy or that guy. And so you have to make sure that the coaching piece, those that you surround that quarterback with, is so important. And that's bigger to me than anything. I've seen a lot of guys who didn't make it in the National Football League because they weren't talented enough. It was because the people who were coaching them, that it made a difference. I mean, because let's be honest, just like there's talented players, there's talented coaches.
Right.
It doesn't change that way.
Right.
So it is what it is.
Coach, I laugh all the time. You get your high school kids, so when they go to college, just the level changes. And then from college to pros, I can remember a couple of the guys that we had relationships with. One of the biggest adjustments they always had was play calling. Because in college, it's one word.
Board.
Yeah, right, it's the board. So
give me a finger.
Right, they go to the line and it say to play like Seattle. So it's Seattle. But now in the NFL, it's jet, right, two motion. Talk about that transition for these guys and how that really hurts a lot of these guys.
You're going to laugh when I tell you this. I think that's going to change here pretty soon. I really do. I think the wave of the older coach who doesn't move his cheese, has been set in, this is how we do it.
This is what we do.
We don't do it no other way. It's my way or the highway. I think that's going to start to move out a little bit because those players, you just said, a lot of them come from those systems. Not that you're going to see guys holding up boards in the National Football League. I don't think you have to do that, but we have a coach, the quarterback communicator. I can tell you to run Hank, for instance. Just say that word, and that's a whole concept. It's a protection, it's an everything, and I can go play faster if I want to. And so there's so many things I think that you're going to start to see pretty soon that's going to start to transition into the National Football League game. It's just been slow getting there.
Now, I remember '93. I know all of us remember this. It was on a certain sideline. Houston Oilers was playing. You had a certain offensive coordinator named Kevin Gilbride. You had a defensive coordinator named, I think, Buddy Ryan. And they got into it. So I want to ask you, as an offensive genius, when you're doing everything you can offensively, and the defense, for weeks, they're just not getting it right, and you know they could be better. Have you ever had an incident where not necessarily wanted to fight, but you had to go to them like, hey, get your game up?
Yeah, I wanted to fight. Yeah. People forget at the end of the day, it goes on your record. You know, that's the whole thing I think people don't understand about this. You know, everybody talks about the offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. Man, it goes on the head coach's record. It goes on his tombstone. Right. So, man, you doggone right I want to fight. This is what we said we were going to do. What the are you doing? You know, and so you have to have that. But, you know, you don't want it to explode on the sideline. You'd rather take it into the locker room or the meeting room in order to handle it. But some certain situations call for different things, you know.
Coach, a word that I think is missing in all levels, development.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
I mean, we've become such a microwave society that they want it now. Just speak to development and why it's really still and it's so important in our sport.
Development is what leads to longevity. People don't understand that. You know, like you said, I mean, there's different systems and coaches and environments and all of that, right? So why do you think some guys who go to other teams in free agency don't play as well? They're not coached by the same coach. It's a different system. The environment's different. I don't care how the practice plan may be different. That can affect a player for the first year. Because you just said it. Think about the quarterbacks and how we try to do everything we can to make them comfortable.
Right.
What about every player that I bring in that's coming, that's a free agent, and he lived in a cold weather city, but he's coming to a warm weather city. And he has to adapt, and he used to dressing up like the Michelin Man and playing good, and now he don't need to do that. And he feels too free to can't make play. You lie. I mean, that really happens.
That's the truth, right? I mean,
it really happens, and people don't understand that. So that's why there's so many hits and misses in free agency. But think about it. If I can bring a player, whether it's a high school player to a college, if I can bring an NFL player that I drafted into my environment where he has nothing else that's been inputted into him,
right,
and I can raise him over time, right? And that's the decision we make when we draft him or we recruit him. I'm able to look at this player and say, I'm going to take him from A to Z. Now, somewhere in between there, the player might decide, well, I want to go do something else. but I'm going to be able to get this guy from A to Z, and that's got to be a plan for any player that's going any place.
Yeah, because now you see a lot of coaches where if you look at the most successful coaches, they've been there 7, 10, what have you. And some might say, of course, because they're winning. But you have some coaches at Tomlin, yes, he's 500, but they might not have had that win, that 10-5 or 10-6 record, or now it's 10-7, you know. But do you think that a coach can be successful, especially if he doesn't have the talent and he can't help the players progress in a 3-year span?
Let me say this to you. I think a coach can be successful, but there's key pieces you have to have. Right? And a lot of luck, but you got to have these key pieces. You got to have a quarterback. I don't care how you cut it. That's proven. You might can make it, and like I say, there's some luck. I mean, if guy throwing an interception to you, you won the game. Something like guy fumbled the ball. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just God's on your side. You know, the football gods are shining down on you this year. But if you don't have that quarterback, I don't care what it is. If you can't rush the passer, I don't care what you do. If you don't have corners, because you said the National Football League is a throwing league. So that's why those guys get paid so much money at corner, because they got to cover.
They got to cover.
And you got to have a rush. So in order, but it's like Batman and Robin. If you can cover but can't rush, that's a problem. And if you can rush and can't cover, that's a problem. So that's why you have to work together building these teams and how you get to it and how you maneuver your money, your cap, all that. All that stuff is so important. And so everybody thinks, like you said, it happens overnight. And everybody, you go in, you trade for this guy, you go get this guy in free agency, and everybody goes, okay.
On paper.
We ready to go. And they go to the game start playing, they go, what happened? What's this? What is this guy doing here?
Right.
That happens every year, right? That's part of it. And the coach is saying, I don't need to develop you. I just paid you $20 million. Develop you? What you talking about? That's just what it is. And so I just think there's a whole dynamic around that people have to understand.
Coach, I think the most overused word right now when we talk scouting, just whatever we talk about these players, generational talent. Oh my God, Coach. Coach, do you feel me when I say that, Coach?
I do feel you.
Oh, I mean, how can every year we get a generational talent?
It's not one out there every year.
I
promise
mean,
you
but
that.
that's what they act like.
But they,
so
but
because
they
right
out
now,
there,
right now, Caleb Williams, generational talent. They said that about Trevor Lawrence, and they're gonna say it about somebody else next year. Thank you, Coach.
I didn't say a word. I'm listening. What does that mean?
I don't know.
Let's get to the end of the generation and see if he did it or not. And I think because everybody's measuring these guys against someone else that they've seen, and think that this player is going to ascend to that kind of talent, right? And I think that's unfair to the guy who is the guy who's getting compared to a guy who was a generational talent.
Yeah.
You might have some traits that look like this particular player, but are you really that player?
Right.
I don't know.
And it's real funny because I want to take Trevor Lawrence, for example. Remember after his freshman year, they won a national championship. And remember, everybody said, hey, he don't need to play no more college football.
Yep.
So what he's supposed to do for 2 years? Just do drills?
I guess.
And now, now it's conversations about, because his fifth-year option is coming up soon. And now you're sitting there like, well, is he can't miss? Is he generational?
Well, we all seen. Again, I'm not putting Trevor Lawrence down.
No, I mean,
No,
nobody
but
was
I'm
saying.
neither. No, but I'm gonna say something to people. I know how people take things I say and right. But I watched the last couple of throws in the playoff game. Right, they were both to his left. Go back and watch it. To his left, he threw the ball out in front of the receiver, went out of bounds. Threw the ball to his left, he missed. He's a right-handed quarterback. Why am I throwing to his left?
Right.
Well, so it goes back to that thing.
Stop making sense.
You got
Stop
it make sense.
Stop making sense.
Right? I mean, but that's what I'm saying.
Stop making sense, Coach.
So that's what I'm saying. People struggle that way. Look, in key moments, the really good coaches, and so think about this. We're now having this conversation about Trevor Lawrence.
Right.
If he would have hit those balls and threw it to the right, you wouldn't be saying that today.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So there's somebody else that's got a role in this.
Coach, don't. See, so this is going to lead me to my next question, and I'm being biased. I'm a Bears fan. I'm glad you brought all that up. So I personally don't think we should trade Justin Fields. We should keep him. And I don't want to put anyone down. We know we tell the truth and shame the devil. But I just feel like he didn't get the help he was getting coaching-wise as far as the offense. But yet still, with a Caleb Williams, and you can trade Justin, potentially get a second pick, but at the same time, if you trade the number 1 pick, you could get 2, possibly 3 first-round picks and set yourself up. What would you do, or when you're in that position, how do you look at that?
This is one man's opinion, right? It's not
Yes.
organization.
No,
it's just me
this-
talking.
yes.
So,
But you've been in this situation,
Right.
so
I have.
yeah,
Right.
that's what I'm
Right.
saying. So we can ask you.
But Justin Fields is as talented of a quarterback in my opinion,
Somebody leave.
as anybody in the National Football League.
Whew,
I've
Coach.
seen him do things this past year that I haven't seen since Michael Vick. It looked like Lamar Jackson 101 from time to time, running around, throwing the football, escapability, the ability to add plays with his legs. They were one of the better rushing teams because that dynamic that he has of running the ball. I keep telling people, if you want to be a really good running team, if a quarterback gets 50 yards, you get it back to get 100 yards. That's 150.
Boy.
Run some reverses and arounds. Now you averaging 170 yards rushing.
Right.
And you're
one of the
controlling the clock.
Thank you. And so you got a chance to win a lot of games. So thinking about what you said, there's no question that if I have that kind of talent, I want to continue to build. I wouldn't want to move him. I have a chance to add 2 of the premier players in the draft on my football team that I could elevate my team.
Whoa.
And we'd be really, really good in 2 very key places. I get a chance to get 2 of the best in the top 10?
In
Yes.
the top 10.
Are you kidding me?
Yes.
I'm going to fall in love with Justin all over again. That's what I would do.
Because, I want Marvin Harrison Jr. That's who I want. We need to get him.
Man, you go in that building and tell them what you want.
I wish I had it like that, Coach. All right, Coach. I know we got to let you go, man. This is fun, man. We love football. We love talking
No, you
X's
guys
and
are
O's,
awesome,
and
man.
this is what we do, man. But I appreciate it, and much success and much
Thank you.
love, and hopefully we get to do this again.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you both.
My guy.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Yes,